Hello mga kababayan, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Laruan ni Obi-Wan. For this Saturday afternoon's review, we are going to discover if this Fortnite metal mount action figure is as good as it was advertised. So this figure, I found this at my local Walmart. Check my targets. This was not available at any of my Target, so just check your Walmarts for availability. So we have the figure out of packaging and all of the accessories that is associated with it. Before we go to the figure, let me give you already my final thoughts on it. It is a good looking action figure. It is something that is worth your purchase and your time for driving around town looking for it, or possibly pre-ordering it online and waiting for it to come at your doorstep. Okay, so if you're looking for a G.I. Joe-ish like action figure, it is it, but it has some bit of issues that we're going to discuss about later. But first, let us take a look at the individual accessories that comes with it. So first of all, let us tackle the sidearm, which is mounted on the holster on the figure. So the sidearm has an RMR on it, or a red dot sight. This is something that looks like a SIG P320 or an M17 pistol that is issued by our military, but I don't think it is, because there's a deviation in design because of the hammer. So the P320 does not have a hammer because it is a striker fired pistol. Okay, but it's good that because this figure is a sniper, he comes at least with a sidearm. So let us take a look at the main battle implement, which is a Barrett 50 caliber sniper rifle. Okay, so this is a video game character, so it's okay for him to wield this kind of weapon, but in reality this is a rifle that you can carry while on patrol on foot. But it's better yet that you choose a different weapon system instead of this Mama Jama, because this thing is really heavy. If you have not yet fired this, or possibly seen one at sight. So this thing is really heavy, something that is vehicle mounted, and only when needed it is taken out of vehicle and used. But for a video game character as a main battle implement, this is something that is very heavy and unwieldy. Okay, so but with regards to detail, really spot on, so I could tell all of the characteristics of the Barrett 50 caliber is on this platform, except for, of course, for the backup iron sights, which this model does not feature. Anyway, we have a good looking sniper rifle with a overly sized muzzle brake, but that is okay. So we have those, and we have a pair of mace. I would have rather want a pair of knives instead of these two things, but at least we still have something to play with as an accessory in case we want to do a custom work on something. So this is of course not going to go with the figure. So the last thing that I really appreciate that they did include with this set would be this backpack. So the backpack is really nicely molded. It contours well to the back of the figure, and when it is on the back of the figure, you know that it is not too small, not too big, or oversized or over protruding. It is just nice and right. So we have a multi-band radio on the side. We still have pouches on the side for the 50 caliber Barrett, the magazines, and of course, because the metal mount is supposed to be a sniper, he has a sniper's mat. So let's take all of these accessories to the side and let's take a look at the figure. Okay, so the only issue that I have with this figure actually would be the head, because the head actually is just way too small for the figure, and considering that that is an armored helmet. So a helmet of this type is supposed to be bigger than your head. It's going to be really like a bowling ball over your shoulders, but in this case that is just way too small. But if you have extra heads lying around, which in my case I already have one issued, which we would be installing later, then it is good. Now with regards to pouches that are on this figure, the details, the paint job, before I discuss any of the details, the paint job on this figure is really spot on. We don't have any form of splashes or misprint or paint that is too thick on one side and too thin on the other side. The paint job on this guy is really good. Even on the buckles, the silver buckles and the carabiner for rappelling, the silver on these little parts and including the neck guard actually is really nicely painted, and even the back guard of the neck. So the boots are really nice and high. And with regards to articulation, it is really good. So just for the head, we have ample articulation for the head. So because this piece is actually the armor piece is a floating piece, so but with regards to how to put it off, I was really searching around the figure on an area that could possibly be disengaged, but we don't find anything. So I guess that when this action figure was assembled, before the arms were placed on, the vest was slipped on the torso of the figure before the arms were pinned to the side. So that is it. We don't have any break on the mold. So going back to the articulation, we have ample articulation for the hands, nice sideways motion. We also have a bicep cut, 2 points of articulation for the elbow, and they are pinless. And for the hands, we have a hinge for the hand, and of course rotation. So both hands are trigger finger hands. So trigger finger hands on the right side, trigger finger hands on the left side. So if you're a lefty or a righty collector, then you could choose where you would let this figure hold on to the sidearm. So you could just possibly reposition. If you're a lefty, you could reposition the holster and glue it to this side over here. So that is possible because of these two hands, and actually the hands are really nice and pliable, so they could hold on to the weapons and you don't have to wrestle the weapons on those handsets. So for the body, we have a abdominal crunch hidden underneath the vest, and we still have a ball on the waistline. So the waistline would roll nicely, the body would bend nicely back, forward and back. So really good articulation on this figure. Now even if the battle belt on this figure, it is actually the parts are wrapped around on the thigh, it still doesn't impede articulation of the leg. So but I think the position of the pistol holster has to be moved up a little bit, but that is just me. If you see that it is already good in that position, then don't move it. So for the leg area, we have a thigh cut for thigh rotation, and take a look at that. For the knee, those are pinless knees. So 2 points of articulation for the knee, and look at that, we have a knee pad. So when we break that knee, we actually don't have a very unsightly knee bend, because the knee bend is compensated by the knee pad, which is nice and round. So that the articulation points does not end there. So we still have boot articulation, rotation, we have a hinge for the foot, and a little bit of rocker motion. No, not a little bit, I stand corrected, that's a lot. So as for details, I really love the details on this figure. So for pouches, we have pouches for the 50 caliber Barrett. We have a quick draw pouch for the magazine of the Barrett over here, and we still have two traditional standard pouch with a flap for which a velcroed flap, I mean. So for the pistol, of course, this figure has a pistol as a sidearm, so we have two pistol magazine holders on the right and on the left. So on the back of the figure, we don't have any more accessories, because that is the thing that is reserved for the backpack of this figure. The only thing that I would have liked with this figure really is for this figure to have at least a knife, and the knife would have really complemented this figure well, instead of these two maze things, which actually is useless if you think that this is more of a G.I. Joe classified series-ish figure. So but it does not stop you from getting any of the accessories that you have on hand with other figures. Especially personally me, I have a plethora of loose accessories that I buy on eBay, and I could attach it to this figure later. So the only thing really that is of issue would be the head and possibly a knife. Now with regards to the weapon, if you don't want to rock around the block with a 50 caliber Barrett, you could change the weapon. At least that is still a something like a 7.62 by 39 mag, something that possibly a SCAR rifle would use. So if you have a Fortnite figure that has a SCAR rifle on board, then you could possibly use that rifle. Or if you have any of the spare G.I. Joe classified series weapons on at hand, you could use those and just pair a rifle that possibly the magazine would be a nice fit. So that is it. So this figure is really a good action figure, something that you should personally consider. And lastly, the last detail that I would like to point out would be we have a patch of some sort on the right shoulder of the figure. So really cool. So this is something that if you want a G.I. Joe-ish action figure, this is the one to get, because actually we don't have any action figures, new action figures at stores. So it's the same old, and actually the pegs are running dry, and I don't know what is the reason for it. Plus most of the figures that we have are on pre-order, and nothing of the pre-ordered figures have recently materialized. So if you find something like this on peg, then it would really make you happy. So let's go to the photos and video shots, and if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and see you on the next action figure review.